Welcome to BARI BANTER, where we talk everything bariatric surgery with the people that know it best, the patients. I'm Shannon, and I'm here with my co-hostess with the mostest,
Lita. So sit back, relax, and remember, sip, sip, sip.
Lita.
Shan.
Just want to start this episode actually by kind of giving you a bit of love. I just wanted to say thank you for everything you do for this podcast. If you guys listen to this podcast and enjoy it, 90% of it's Lita. Not going to lie, she does a lot for this podcast, down to like social media, talks to the guests, get them organised, changes the number on the little board thing there. Like it's endless what she does. So I just wanted to kind of just give you a quick little shout out. And
that was unexpected.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Because like 95 episodes in, that's crazy. That's like, what is that? Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years of doing this, and the amount of work you've put into this podcast, like
you
week in, week out.
every week.
Yeah, but I enjoy that. I think you like doing the social media. Well, you kind of enjoy that as well. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a little love fest. And the other people I want to give a love fest to is our Patreons, guys. We really do appreciate the support. It definitely helps with a lot of things. So we do really appreciate it. And we want to give back to you guys more going forward. So yeah, just stay tuned for that, because I think I have some things in mind that we might be able to do. So I went on a different podcast this week, actually.
Oh, did you?
I know. At 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, I know.
With a guy from Switzerland. I know, strange.
To talk about running.
But the thing I learned is me and podcasts in the morning don't work.
Oh,
my brain.
See, I legit just said we need to start doing them in the morning, because it's like 6:30 at night, and I'm like, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, well, because when you just said that, then it was my thought pattern. I was like, no, not mornings, unless it's after I run.
Maybe not 4 o'clock in the morning. It might be a little early. I don't think we get too many guests on at 4 o'clock in the morning.
It'd be like that Team Crazy thing I did that time where I had people up exercising throughout the night. Yeah, but it was just, my brain just wasn't fun. It was good, but it was talking about something I'm passionate about. Like, I'm passionate about bariatric surgery, I'm passionate about running, and it's very easy to talk about
once your brain's woken up.
Yeah, it was just sometimes, as I said to when I'm passionate about something and my brain isn't working, I chase circles around my own head. Like, I kind of go, there's a word there somewhere, I'll find it out eventually. But yeah, no. What about you? Any more PBs this week?
No, they've changed the structure of the gym this week, so I didn't get any more PBs, unfortunately. Damn it. But I did sign up for the games, which is exciting. I think I've been at Contessa for a year now, which is super exciting. I had my little anniversary the other day, which was fun. But the very first games that we went and watched together that day, I'm actually competing in them this year. So my very first week at the gym, Shannon and I went and had a look, watch this games thing that were happening, and I was like, oh wow, I'm never going to be there. That's super scary. And now legit a year on, I'm signed up. So it's a partner workout. No idea what it is, but yeah, that's a bit scary.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny, the things you get yourself into now? Like, who would have thought, it's one thing to have weight loss surgery, lose weight. It's a completely different other thing, the adventures you go on after.
Yep.
Even last week I flew to Sydney, and just met up with a bunch of runners, because that's what I do now. Same as you, going to a gym and working out and doing competitions.
Yeah. Oh, I'm starting a nutrition course next week too.
Yeah. That's good. I need to do that, but you doing it, it's the same thing.
You need me to do it for you.
It's practically the same thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough mumbling about things. Might as well get our guest on.
Our guest on. Yep. So today's guest was bypassed in October of 2020 with the highest recorded weight of 220 kilos. He went under the knife at 206.5 and has smashed his goal out of the park to be under 120 kilos. Here to talk to us about his impressive weight transformation and all the trials and tribulations that's come along with it. Please welcome Rhys, also known as That Arsehole Got RNY.
No, that asshole got RNY. I was trying to beep you out a little bit there.
You kind of did really well. Well done.
Then I had to explain it, because I felt rude, because I don't want to Rhys, welcome.
Thank you.
Good.
Surgery weight was 170 something.
Oh, was it? Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Who filled out the form wrong? Gee.
See, this is what happens when I give a little bit of love and credit for what she does. She messes it up.
I wrote this before you gave me love. No.
Rhys, can I just say, because I met you a long time ago, Melbourne meetup. 20.
Was it Melbourne or was it Oswald?
No, it was Melbourne was the first one I think I met, or maybe.
No, Oswald. Was it?
I thought it was Oswald 2018.
Might have been.
Wow.
I obviously drunk too much. Yeah, and I just must say, seeing you now, completely different person.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually kind of insane. Do you feel like, as a person, like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Like, how's everything going for you?
Well, at the moment, I actually feel really good, and that I probably the best I've felt since getting surgery. Probably the best I've felt in my probably entire life.
Yeah.
So exciting to hear.
I know. Isn't that a great feeling though? It honestly is. Like, I had it not long ago where I literally said, I actually feel like this is the happiest point in my life. And it's a really surreal feeling to have. Yeah. I guess you play a little bit of a part.
Talking about how you feel within yourself, cast your mind back to before surgery. What are the first words that come to mind when you think about yourself before surgery?
Probably still, I was pretty cocky, even being 200 kilos. And I kind of really felt like I knew who I was back then. And yeah, stupid amount of confidence and everything. But
yeah. That's one thing I will say. Like, when I first met you, you did come across very like self-confident, and like I'm a very insecure person. So when I ran into someone who's super, like, you know, you just kind of go, wow, like they're so secure within themselves. I find it a little bit daunting. And I did find that the first time I met you, I felt like I was a little bit like, well, the second time by the sounds of it, I was a little bit taken back by it. And I didn't know, like I felt a bit insecure in the whole situation. You know, looking back on that and saying that, however, do you still feel like, you were projecting something in order to not kind of show?
Back then, I felt like it was more of a like cover up sort of thing. Like, I knew I was bigger. I knew that, like, you know, I'm definitely insecure in that, but I knew if I projected confidence, that, like, I don't know, I wasn't to. I was trying to think of the words. Like, wasn't anything else. It was just like I knew that's what people would want to see in a person.
Yeah.
Like.
So it wasn't like you were putting up like a protective guard, like of like, you know, if I put across this really strong image, people won't mess with me kind of thing? Or was it more?
No, it's more like people like confident people. Like, people that are insecure in that, they're hard to get along with. Like,
yeah, tell me about
it. Hey, I go along with you straight away. Yeah. And that, like, I get along with everybody pretty much immediately. And if I don't get along with you, like, it's usually pretty quickly worked out too.
Yeah, I feel like you're not the kind of person to stray away from the words of, you know, I don't like you, so get out of my airspace.
Yeah, but it's worse when you say it and they don't believe you.
And then you kind of have to go, no, seriously.
No, seriously. Go away.
So you would have had a breaking point. Like, what was the point for you that you decided weight loss surgery for you?
Well, kind of got to the point where I wanted to have kids and have a family and all that, and just like, well, I'm not going to be around at 30 if I don't get it done. So I kind of had that, and just like, yeah, my retirement plan was to be gone by the time I was 30.
Wow.
And then surgery, like weight loss surgery community kind of came into my life and that, so I just kind of got into it through that while I was still training and that. Then, yeah, I think 12 months before COVID in Melbourne hit is when I got my private health and was like, no, I've actually got to get this done, and that I actually want to get it done myself. And that it wasn't anybody else's choice for me to get it. It was just my decision to finally do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were quite into like lifting and stuff prior to surgery, weren't you? Yeah, like big time into it.
So getting back into that now.
Yeah, how are you finding it coming back? Because obviously I don't know, like I feel like I lost a lot of muscle, but are you finding it tougher or are you finding it easier? Like you more mobile? Like,
gotten more mobile, definitely gotten weaker, but still retain a lot of muscle mass because of the sort of work I do. Like, because I'm heavy lifting pretty much all day at work and that. So I'm still sitting around 90 kilos muscle mass.
Really? Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
I feel like that's a lot. I probably have one.
No muscle.
Yeah. I have big calves.
Usually comes around like 85, 90 kilo whenever I step on the scale, still muscle mass. So like a big drop from where I used to be. I used to be like 110 130 kilos of muscle mass.
Wow.
Great.
But-
That's crazy.
What made you go down the bypass route? Like, rather than the sleeve, like, do you put much mental energy into it?
I had more issues with reflux with anything prior to surgery,
Yeah.
and just wanted to kind of skip having issues with reflux and having to get a revision.
And has that worked? Do you have any reflux issues?
I have no reflux issues. I used to wake up every morning like throwing up because of my reflux. It was that bad.
Wow.
Never knew it was reflux. Never knew what reflux was until like 5-6 years ago.
You just call it the spicy morning cough.
It's just like morning sickness.
My whole life.
Was it bad enough that you were getting like the rotting of the teeth and stuff like that, or your teeth?
No.
They look pretty white and pretty sparkly, so I'm guessing not.
It's probably my ring light that helps with that.
Yeah, that's it. I need another.
You
I need
got
some
all
of
the
them.
tech.
Thanks. Did you have any fears going into surgery? Like, did you you kind of did say about your retirement plan was like not being around.
Yeah.
Did you fear complications going onto the table and stuff?
Yeah, I did. My ex-partner, she had complications.
Yep.
And that I have a pretty general fear of hospitals. I do not like hospitals. I do not like being in them. I do not like being around them.
Yeah.
And I definitely do not like being admitted to them.
Yeah. I don't think many people do. I don't think people go, oh, we've got
Yes.
we've got a long weekend. Want to go to the hospital? Let's just go hang out at the hospital. We go to the cafeteria. Really kind of awesome.
Yeah, go there for the good food.
Yeah,
you know,
the good food and the good
vibes.
service. Yeah. But you did unfortunately have a few complications after surgery. Do you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, so I had internal bleeding probably 6 days after surgery.
Oh, wow.
How did you figure out that you had internal bleeding?
When I threw up a mouthful of blood
Oh,
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it. That's not normal.
and passed out in the bathroom.
oh,
And woke my ex up, and she came in, and I was laying there on the ground, blood and half knocked out.
Oh, my God.
Um,
Did you call an ambulance or did you just drive to the hospital?
didn't call an ambulance straight away. Told her,
You're
yeah,
like,
it's just
no.
reflux.
I can walk it off. Don't worry about me.
pretty much. If you know me, that is literally what I would say. I told her, I'm like, no, I'll stand up. I'll make it to the car. You can drive me, and that'll be fine. Because I didn't know my hospital cover had ambulance in it. I didn't have ambulance cover.
Oh, that's right. Because it's different for you guys to what it is here.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that not a thing down there? Because ours is
No.
just included in our...
No, so you got to have ambulance cover. Well, you can have ambulance cover separate if you don't have hospital cover. But I didn't realize mine was on it.
So you're like, save
So I
that
think-
$500, just get me to the hospital.
500. What about? I think the bill that came in the end was like $2,500.
Whoa.
Far out.
And that it was something ridiculous.
That is a
But
lot.
yeah.
You're like, I could have got a limo for that.
Stretch arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, got up, stood up again, threw up again, passed out again, and then she called my mum, and my mum came around. It was like peak COVID in Melbourne, like October 2020. So mum comes around, is like, you're calling an ambulance. So got an ambulance and that, and the ambulance drivers told them if they had drove me, I would have died.
No way.
So
yeah, not ideal.
Did they diagnose you
Yeah.
there and then when the ambulance got there? Did they sort of know what was going on?
no, they had no idea. So I went and got MRI. I went to the local hospital, got an MRI, ended up getting transferred to another hospital, and then got a gastroscope done, and that's when they found it. And yeah,
So what was it that was causing the bleed? Was it a stitch? Or was it the...
my stomach acid actually like burnt part of the incision area.
Oh, no
So
way.
your reflux was coming to get you.
Yeah.
It was like, stuff you. I'm going out with a bang.
So when he was like, I haven't had any reflux apart from the one that almost melted me from the inside
it
out.
almost killed me. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Far out.
yeah, no, that was an experience. Yeah.
Did you have any
That
symptoms prior to you vomiting up blood and passing out? Like, was there anything like telltale beforehand?
No, so I just felt really full, and that like I'd just eaten, and I'm like, oh, I did eat something like a half an hour ago. So I'm like, it's like being new to surgery, not realizing like,
Yeah.
You're like,
That
oh, the
wasn't normal.
restriction's working.
yeah, I'm like, this is amazing. This is the best thing ever. I'm like, I don't want to eat anything.
ever again.
Like, goes to bed. Well, that was not the greatest thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those things. So I talked to my surgeon about this once before, where we feel so crappy before surgery. Sometimes, like after surgery, we could have things going on, but we won't even recognize we have them going on because we're kind of so used to feeling shitty.
Yeah.
You might have had like little signs leading into that, like, you know, where you vomited or something, and then you kind of like, no, it's just I'm unhealthy. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, this knee pain is like normal because, you know, I was 200 kilos. So like, no, it's not normal.
Well, that's what a lot of people, why gallbladder issues become such a thing, because, like, you know, before surgery, we're just kind of like, oh, it's a little bit of reflux, or oh, it's a bit of heartburn, or that sort of thing. Like, you just think that it's part and parcel with being overweight, but actually it's like your gallbladder being like, oh, I'm dying. Like, I've got calcium in here. Like, I'm trying to get rid of it. So
that's it. I need some relief. It's crazy that you got to 200 kilos because did you put on a lot of weight like the year or two leading into your kind of surgery? Because I feel like when I saw you, you were big. You weren't, 200 kilos. That's like sizable.
So around Oswald and that Christmas party, I would have been about 180, 190.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Oswald, I was down to like 170.
Yeah.
And then just kind of life happened and kept going up and down, losing the same 30 kilos over and over.
Yeah. Preach. I know that feel. Because it's like you are a muscular person, clearly. So that's probably where it was because I would never have looked at you and thought 200 kilos because that's like.
Yeah, but would you have looked at you and thought close to 200 kilos?
Sexy. I was like, I'm the mirror being like.
That crack
look
that's
at
always
that.
hanging out
I'm like, it's like a 6-pack, only one.
Like the amount of people that mined at Blue that I was 220 kilos, 225 kilos, kind of, it blows their mind. They're like, you've never looked that big. Like you've been big, but you don't look like you were that big. Well, and now looking at photos, I'm like, whoa.
Literally, I just did the same thing before you came on. I scrolled through your Instagram and there's one photo there and I'm like, holy crap. Like you can't even, like you're not even the same person, but like I never looked at you like, I guess that, but one of the photos I was like, wow, like, yeah, he's done really freaking well. Like that's insane. Like,
it's only really started to hit me lately. So the photo I sent today for you guys and that was taken Sunday. And I was like, whoa, I look like that now.
That's what I said to you. Like, you're almost unrecognizable compared, like, if you're looking at the two of them side by side, you're almost, like, completely unrecognizable. It's crazy.
Are you having much, like, with the body image side of things? Like, how are you feeling about that? You know, are you starting to kind of feel like you like what you see, or are you kind of criticizing yourself more? How's that whole going?
So, I probably had the opposite of a lot of people. I thought I was a lot smaller than what I was.
Yep.
So my brain caught up at a certain point, probably around the 150, 140 mark. And then from that mark onwards, I'm like, oh no, I'm bigger than what I am. Like it's kind of gone in reverse to start off with, and then kind of caught up and went the other way.
You've got like reverse body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
You're like, I just caught up to what my mind was already seeing.
Because I used to have a similar thing too, though. Like when I was bigger, I think I was so far in denial that I refused to think of myself as being anything bigger than like a size 16, size 18. So like in my head, I knew that I was overweight, but I didn't realize quite as like how big I actually was. And I got to 127 kilos, which for me, I'd never actually got on the scale, so I don't know how big I actually was. So when I was going into clothes stores and stuff, I would be trying to put on size 18 clothes, and I'd be like, no, they must just be made in China or something, because there's no way that I can't fit into
They've clearly washed these in the dryer.
Yeah, I was like, these are wrong sizes.
I was buying a lot of American clothes. So a lot of my stuff was like a 3XL, a 4XL. And then like I walk into Kmart and buy like an 8XL and be like, oh damn, like Kmart sizing.
That's it, damn Chinese sizing.
Damn Kmart, because mine was in Kmart too, and I was like, no, these sizes must just be so wrong. And then I go to like a surf shop and I'd like squish myself into like a size 16, and I'd be like, see, Kmart's just so wrong. It's like, no, Kmart probably makes the right size.
And then you go to walk through the door and you're like, I can't get through, and you're like, damn, small doors. This mustn't be the normal. Yeah, so your first year, let's talk about that, because like you have had a process. Like you had the complications earlier on, you've gone on a bit of a process yourself. Like, talk us through that first year, mentally how you've kind of processed the whole adjustment to weight loss surgery and life and everything in that kind of aspect.
So I didn't really process it to start off with. So I had my complications and that, and because I had 6 weeks off work, because the sort of work I was doing at that time, was as I said, it's heavy lifting and that. It's literally crawling underneath stuff and trying to undo a bolt that's as tight as it can be. So I couldn't do any of that. And even on light duties, they still had me trying to do stuff like that. So I didn't actually, once I got back to work, I don't feel like I was recovered properly yet because of the bleed, but still trying to be like, okay, well, I've had 6 weeks off. I've got to catch up on 6 weeks worth of work.
Gotcha.
So my mentality towards work is, it's good. It's a really good mentality to have, but it's not at the same time. Like, I will literally work myself in the ground.
Yeah.
And that. So
you're right. I was going to say, has it got easier now? Like, you found yourself
yeah, I feel like I don't put as much pressure on myself at work as in I can say no now. Like, I'm not the big guy. I'm not the liability.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that you can say no now. That I remember early on, especially a year or so ago when we were first sort of doing this podcast, that was my biggest thing. I was learning on how to say no to people because I think I was the yes girl. I just said yes to everybody. I think that was my persona. I just want to be liked by everybody. So I just made sure that I bent over backwards for everybody. And I remember for the longest time, 6 months, I was I'm learning to say no to people. It was the hardest transition for me to do.
And she's got really good at it. I make that joke all the time, but she's got very good at saying no. For you, in life in general, have you found a lot of things better? Not even if it's physical, mental. Have you found you've started appreciating things more in your new vessel?
Yes and no, because as I said, 2020, 2021 in Melbourne was you could not do anything. So that took a massive toll on me mentally. Physically, I was doing good. I was losing weight. I was literally having a curfew. I think it was 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or something, or 5. Wow. And that. So I was allowed out for work, which sounds really bad when you say it like that. We had our 5K radius. So I was going to work, I was going home, and I'm I don't want to do anything once I get home. I don't want to go out. Physically I was keeping up with it because of work, but mentally I was just drained. I didn't know what to do, didn't know where to sort of push myself and try and do something.
Yeah. So how did you mentally, was it mainly you couldn't go out, was the mental struggle, or was it just you were feeling restricted, not just in being able to go out, but also with the new body you had and stuff? Was weight loss playing a part in that, the weight loss surgery playing a part in that, or was it just the literal restrictions of COVID that were kind of giving you the mental struggles?
The complications and that, as before surgery, I felt absolutely bulletproof. And that nothing could ever take me down. Then after having the bleed and that, I'm okay, well, I'll just go to work because I know work. I'll go to the shops. I know the shops. I know Bunnings. I'll do that. Okay, I'll go to my parents' place and just kind of had my safe 5 places I could go without sort of a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
So did you actually ever mentally process the fact that you could have almost died and that you had complications? I feel that was quite a mental thing that you would have had to have processed.
No, I have literally spent the last 18 months, 20 months joking about it. And that never really took it serious until the other month and went, actually, this has really affected me.
Oh, wow.
And I probably need to get some help and probably have a bit of PTSD and anxiety and everything because of it.
Wow. That's a big step to actually admit, admit that it took you 18 months to realize that that's sort of what you're doing and that you're obviously working towards getting into a better headspace now. That's a pretty big thing to do.
What did you put in place to kind of help with that? Did they give you...
I just kind of called a psych and I made a doctor's appointment and got a psych appointment and went, okay, I need to work on this. I actually need to work on this. I got a blood test and they're oh, no, it's nothing physical. And I was like, yay, mental health.
Yay, mental health. That's even better, not.
Like, the one thing I can't fix by doing something else.
Yeah. Talking about that, like, was it a case of you acknowledging that there was an issue was the start of the whole process being fixed? Like, or was it more than that? Like, or was it just you kind of had to process that you had an issue first?
It was kind of going through a breakup.
Yep.
And things were being said by both of us, and that kind of brought up my mental health. And I'm like, actually, this is really bad. And it was only like in the first couple of days of being broken up, and I'm like, I need to work on this. I need to go actually get help and see what's going on with me.
Yeah, I definitely, like, that kind of thing brings out the best in people. I know, like, when I first separated with my ex, I said a lot of things that I didn't mean. But I guess I realized I was hurting a bit. And, you know,
like adjusting to something new.
And it's funny, you know how they always say you go through like the 5 stages of like
grief,
like I guess grief, and you kind of go through the whole vengeful and blah blah blah. Like I remember, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going
today
through
I'm
that
doing
stage.
this.
Like I remember one time I was like, damn her, and I'm like, I'm gonna go let her tires down in a car. She listens to the podcast too. She's gonna laugh so hard at that. But like I remember going through patches of like, you know, having the vengefulness and like, you know, having the remorse and the sadness and like all these different emotions that went. And then I had to kind of step back and be like, you know what? It's not her, you know, as much as she was the person that pulled the pin. This is a reflection of me and where I was at mentally.
Yeah, like I had some real up days, real down days, and like I would flip like a switch and that. And I was like, need to really actually get this under control, because I'm like, it's not good for like where we were at and where I was at.
Yeah.
So really just chucked a lot of effort into it to start off with, and still working on it now.
It's good. It shows a lot of like self-assessment and like self-awareness to kind of, I'm sure it wasn't all amazing, because like, let's be honest, like breakups, you do some things that you kind of go, I probably shouldn't have done that. But you know, you being able to sit back and go, you know what, I wasn't the best me throughout that time, as much as that person may not have been the best them, but you know, acknowledging that sometimes a lot of people don't acknowledge.
Yeah, I feel like I lost, like I didn't lose myself in that relationship, but having surgery and having a lot of things change in my life, like moving interstate and going, I don't know anybody, nobody knows me here. Like literally guys at work didn't know that I had surgery till I was drunk at the Christmas party at work, and like, oh yeah, I had weight loss surgery. I'm like, this is me. Like, look at this picture.
Oh, that's sick.
And they're all like, had no idea.
Were you quite secretive about it? Like with everyone around you, apart from like obviously your mum and your ex and stuff like that?
No, I was pretty open about it, and that like one of the guys at work found out within a couple of weeks since like when I started there, because I was literally working with the guy every day. So he was like,
wait a second, why don't you eat?
Yeah, that was the question. And like going to the lunch truck and just grabbing a drink, like, why have I never seen you eat food? I'm like, it's because I just kind of live off Powerade.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though, that you got to essentially almost reinvent yourself though when you moved interstate, because like you know, you're in a new place, you're in a new job, you've lost all this weight, like you get to be who you want to be with no judgment.
Yeah.
Fresh start.
Yeah. It has been a fresh start, and like, as you know, like the last couple of weeks, I've like went out and got a tattoo. I got my ears pierced again. I got my nose pierced on Sunday.
I was going to say
that. I swear I've never seen it. It kind of suits you.
Yeah, it really does. It looks amazing.
And actually, like I got it done. I'm like, why haven't I done this years ago?
Yeah, no, it looks sick. It looks very cool.
So talking about reinventing yourself and moving interstate and all that sort of stuff, was there a point in your life that you can think about, like after surgery, where you literally felt like, pardon the pun, but a weight was lifted off your shoulders and that you could start sort of becoming yourself and you were feeling like yourself again?
Yeah, about 4 months ago.
I thought you were going to be like 4 hours ago. I thought you were going to be like, yeah, about 4 hours ago. It's been great.
Yeah, like when I messaged you guys about coming on here.
Yeah.
And how's that been? Like, what kind of triggered that for you? Like, was it just the way you felt, the way you saw yourself, or a combination of all?
The change of my life, like it just being in a new city and being single in a new city and going like, well, I want to get out and do things. I want to go live a life that I thought I was going to have after surgery, but didn't. And yeah, just kind of like, okay, let's go do whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think that had you had not had the surgery, you would have had the confidence to move interstate?
No. I would not have had the confidence to quit my old job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that.
So you kind of felt like your weight was keeping you stuck because it was comfortable and familiar.
Yeah, like I'd worked there for 9 years and that, so they all knew who I was and that. They knew me as big race, but the thing was I could do every job there. And that, and I wouldn't say no to things. Some days I would do like 14-hour days, 16-hour days, and then turn up the next day at 6 a.m, ready to go again.
So you were the yes man, similar to me being the yes girl. You just wanted to not necessarily please everyone, but it was easier, and people couldn't question you if you just did what everyone expected you to.
Yeah, they weren't looking at me like, "Oh, you're 200 kilos, you can't do that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm 200 kilos, I'll do that."
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously being single, how long was it since you were last single? Like, how old were you when you were with that? Like
6 years.
6 years. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So how are you finding it, putting yourself out there as new Rhys? Like, you kind of enjoying it?
Tinder hits a lot differently at 109 kilos instead of 205.
So
I will say that.
You're actually getting matches, yeah.
It's funny because when I was looking at your photos today, this is a really weird segue because it's got nothing to do with
okay.
Tinder.
Did you swipe right on your Instagram accidentally? Leah?
Yeah, I wasn't on Instagram. I was in Tinder.
What are you doing on Tinder?
Yeah, my radius is set real far, like the whole of Australia. No, I was looking at your photos today on Instagram, and like as you were saying, like when you were bigger, you were a confident, like happy, bubbly person, but you can really see that now in the person that you've become. Like, I read the caption where you're like, I still don't know what to do with my hands, which is such a thing in photos. Who knows what to do with their hands in photos?
Oh yeah, that photo.
But like, it was funny because even though you were unrecognizable as the same person, I think your personality is still just as like bubbly and out there, and it's almost like, I hate it when people say this, but it's almost like your body has now caught up to the personality or your persona of what you've always wanted to be.
Yeah, so I've kind of reverted back to being a 18-year-old emo kid lately, and really loving every moment of it.
A 9-year-old emo kid. Like you haven't even touched your fringe once this whole episode. That's like whole.
Yeah, because it stays where it is.
Oh, you have no eyeliner on. I'm very disappointed in you.
No, okay, I'm not that emo kid.
I haven't heard you listen to what is it? What was the emo music back in the day?
Limp Bizkit. Were you gonna say Limp Bizkit or Linkin Park?
Yeah, I think I was.
Yellow Card.
Yeah. I don't know. But, we asked you about pre-surgery. How you viewed yourself. Like, if you had to kind of give yourself a few words now of how you feel about yourself, what would the words be?
You don't need to be drunk to hang out with people.
That's not really like saying like who you are, but I get what you're saying because it is very valid.
I was like, to be social, I had to be drinking and that. Yeah. Like, it's more like you don't have to do that to be social. Like, I've learned, like, you can go and do things without having sort of that protection.
I feel like that's called confidence. Like actual confidence.
Do they sell that at like bottle shops?
Yeah. It's a perfume that you can spray on yourself. Yeah. No, but I feel like that feeling of not having to go out and be drunk to be socially accepted and that sort of thing. I feel like that is...
It's confidence.
Confidence.
Yeah,
that's you now accepting the fact that... I was taking the piss,
but you were right.
No, I was just trying to explain myself, Shannon. I'll just go over there, hey? You guys can finish the podcast without me.
Yeah. But do you feel like that what it is? You actually feel genuinely confident with yourself now? Like, is that what you mean by that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I can do without, like, questioning myself. Like, I know I can take on, like, big jobs and do them, or I can do small things and do them now. Like, I don't actually question myself whether I could do it or should be doing it.
You don't have to project happiness anymore because you genuinely are
you don't
happy.
You don't have to fake it till you make it because you already know what you're doing and you've made it. So it's like...
Oh, yeah. Like, as most people know, I am like I've seemed very confident for a very long time, but yeah, that was an elaborate ruse.
I think it's very different. I was trying to touch on it earlier, like from my personal experience with you, like, yes, you came across confident earlier, but it was very much like you kept, like, the confidence you had was very standoffish confidence, where I feel like now it's a lot softer confidence. And I don't want that to say, like, you're
calling me soft.
No, but like, it comes across
It's
as
a more warm
it's
confidence.
a more warm confidence.
You want to be friends with people now. You're not going to tell them to get stuff.
Yeah, I don't feel like you're going to punch me in the face. I feel like you're going to shake my hand,
So he's
Did you
approachable now.
punch you in the face?
No, well, you just came across like very like intimidating, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, and I think because
I was like a teddy bear back then.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just you got me. Maybe at a point, I think I was probably about 6 months out where I was super insecure. So maybe it was just a reflection of me. Again,
You didn't seem insecure at the time. You seemed more like me, as in like overly confident.
I was very that was my persona, because it was kind of my projection, my self-protection mechanism of like, no one can hate the nice guy, because I just didn't want to be hated. I didn't want people to not like me. So
might have been the confidence in that water bottle.
Yeah, that's it.
That was definitely Melbourne. That was definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How much weight have you lost in total now since surgery?
So since surgery would be about 60.
And in total, over 100 or close to 100 or?
So my official highest weight is 206.5.
Yep.
0.5.
Yeah, go remember that 0.5. Yeah. My highest non-recorded, which was my old boss when I was sitting on a forklift on the Tynes, he pressed the button and weighed me.
Really?
And that, yeah. So like doing something sketchy and illegal already, and then he did that. But he was also a really good family friend, and he was just like, "I'm just curious." Press the button. He's like, "Nah, that's wrong." And he didn't tell me for years. So like that was fine. Like I didn't care. I'm like, oh well, my highest known to me is 206.5. So I've lost 97.
That's a lot of weight.
Wow.
Like, does that comprehend in your head how much weight that is? Like, that's almost 5 bags of concrete.
It did the other month when I did a body weight deadlift. So
and then
first time
you went into the ground and didn't actually. Like,
no, that went up. That went up fine. But like, I think I did a 120 kilo deadlift when I was sitting at 120 kilos. I'm like, this is the first time I've actually ever gone over body weight in a deadlift, like in any lift. And I'm like, I used to carry this around.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Almost.
That is you try and lift 97 kilos, like, or 95 kilos. Like you try and lift, like, I know you lifted it with a dumbbell, but that's like different. Like imagine lifting
barbell.
But I run.
I wasn't going to pick him up on it, seems you did.
No, I run. You do the weights, not me. Imagine lifting that, but the bar thing. Yeah, we'll just go with that. And walking around all day with it, like it. If you put it into that kind of context, it blows your mind. Like, you kind of go, how did I live? How did I just, like, function?
It's actually really funny that you say that, because today at the gym, I didn't get a PB because we restructured it, just so you know. I didn't get a PB today, Shan.
Yeah.
But we had to do back squats, and I'm back squatting at the moment around 55 to 60 kilos, and that's pretty much the amount of weight that I have lost. And today's reps were like a set of 6, and by the last set of 6, I was struggling to get up from the squat position, lifting 60 kilos, and that's how much weight I've lost. Like, how did I used to get up and down off the couch, lifting that much weight? Like, it's crazy when, like, if you think of it that way, that's like that was my daily life. It's crazy.
It puts it into emphasis, like, I guess, like, and I want to ask Rhys about it, but like it puts it into emphasis how. Like, why we felt mentally the way we felt back then, because we were so struggling just to function and just be a part of society, that's where all our energy was going. It wasn't to, like, I want to feel good about myself. It was just literally like, I need to focus on my legs not breaking when I walk down the street. Like, do you actually, like, comprehend what you've done though? Like, is it something you've actually taken the time to sit and be like, wow, like, I've done that?
It's been the last couple of weeks where I've actually gone through my Instagram, gone through old photos, and just gone, okay, I'm here now. I'm actually at the place, like, my goal weight for me for like a very long time was 120 kilos. And I hit that August last year, and I sat at that till March this year.
Yeah.
And then just maintained at that. Then, like, yeah, I've dropped another 11 kilos since then. And yeah, it blows my mind. Like, I never thought I would be under 110, let alone, like, considering the idea of going for 100.
Wow.
Like, aiming for an even 100 just to get there. And then
it becomes almost like addictive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I like this thing going down. This scale just keeps moving in the other direction.
I think I'll get to 100, and then I would probably just be like, okay, now I need to, like, find a decent maintenance weight.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what we did. Yeah. Well, that's what I did.
I don't think 100 would, like, look good on me. I think that, like, 110, 105 mark is where I want to aim for and be around there. But I do want to hit the 100 just so I can be like, I've done it.
Yeah. But you're big on, like, the weightlifting and stuff. So, like, obviously, you know, you getting back into that and doing that, you know, your maintenance weight probably may be 100 kilos. You know, it may be like, you know, once you kind of cut a bit more weight and you lift weights and you gain more muscle, you'll probably find you'll sit around that. Like, to some people, they're like, oh, 100 kilos, that's, but like to a masculine man, 100 kilos isn't that much, you know? It's like, I'm, 89 and I don't have any muscle. So,
Dweeb.
Well, if I keep that muscle mass that I have now and get to 100, I'll be around about 10% body fat.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty insane.
That is crazy.
You say that with a smile on your face. You're kind of like, can I do that? That sounds fun.
Oh, no, it'd be interesting to be there, but I don't think I'd last there very long.
So when you said that it was only been like recently that you've kind of like recognized that that's where you're at in your like process and how your body's looking and all that sort of stuff. So like, would you look in the mirror prior to, like, you know, 2 months ago and just not really comprehend that that's what you looked like, or just because you've looked at yourself every single day of your life, you're just kind of like, meh, that's me?
Pretty much, like, yeah, I look at myself every day for the last 30 years.
Yep.
And like, even when I first got surgery and started losing the weight, I didn't feel like I was losing weight. And then, yeah, it's literally been the last couple of weeks, months, that I've actually looked in there and gone, oh, wow. I'm like, oh, look at this. I'm like, oh, look at this bit.
I love
hey.
that. So where are you heading now, Rhys? Like, what have you got goals in mind? Have you got, you know, a focus? Like, I know you talked about the 100 kilos, but do you have other things that you're kind of focusing on to move towards?
I'm aiming for 1,000 pound total again in gym. So
what's 1,000 pound total? What's that mean? I don't.
So squat, bench, and deadlift being over 1,000 pounds.
Oh. I love that you just
how
nodded.
much is that in kilos? 500 and something?
400 and something?
Yeah, okay. Wow, that's a lot.
No shit.
440 is 200 kilos. So yeah, like, no, 440 is 200. So it's 400 and something kilos. I'm bad at
We'll just say a shitload of weight.
And you used to be able to do that. You've done that before prior to surgery?
Yeah, so I had a 190 kilo squat, 190 kilo deadlift, and a 100 kilo bench.
Wow.
Here I am getting excited about a 60 kilo squat and Mr.
Yeah, but I was also 200 kilos, so I don't really count it. Like, if you go people in that weight class, it's like Eddie Hall and like Thor and Brian Shaw. So like,
no, that's it.
You know,
it's an actual thing.
I know it is, but it's just
so like, I was in like the bottom 0.1% of like my weight class if I was ever to compete back then.
Wow, it's crazy.
See, when you spend every day squatting 120 kilos, you kind of like go, what's another 100? You know, chuck it on my shoulders.
Just
away
put
we
it
go.
on.
Well, if you had to kind of give someone just starting out a tip, like on this process, what would it be?
I mean, now I can't remember what I wrote down. I wrote something and it was good. It was actually good.
It was good. It was something about wasting time. Was that one?
Yeah. Like, if you're going to get surgery, actually just go do it. Like, I spent a lot of years putting it off. And I feel like I wasted a lot of time by, as I said, losing that same 30 kilos over and over again. And finally got to the point where I was like, this is an option. This is actually a good option. And like, I'm going to go for it. I wish I did surgery so much earlier.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you reckon was holding you back, like in the early stages?
Because everybody was telling me to do it.
Stubborn.
And that it's a great family trait I have.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, I think most humans have it.
Do the opposite of what everybody tells you, even though everybody's trying to look out for you and like, you know, actually give you some good advice. And I was always like, no, I don't need it. I'll do it by myself.
Yeah.
That's exactly, because we've been going through the same thing with your little brother at the moment, and your mum keeps on trying to give your little brother advice, and I keep on saying, like, stay out of it, because the more your mum tells you to do something, the more you're going to do the opposite. So I'm just like, stay out of it. Let him think that he's doing it by himself. Like, encourage him, but don't tell him what to do, because what you tell him to do is the complete opposite of what we're actually going to do. I was like, it's just a rule as a child. You don't do what your parents tell you to do.
It's in the handbook. It's like, joys, things to be a teenager. Don't listen to your mum. Okay.
Yeah. I think you mentioned in your form, and I really liked the way that you said it. I'm pretty sure you said something along the lines of, like, what have you got to lose except for your time, or something along those lines. And I was like, that's such a good way of putting it. Like, you know, the sooner you do something, the only thing you're going to lose is your time.
Yeah. That's the way I look at it. I look at all that time that I wasted. I wouldn't say wasted is probably the wrong word, but all that time I could have spent putting an effort into where I'm at now instead of just kind of revolving around the same door.
Yeah. It just exists.
But I finally took that step out of that revolving door.
Yep.
So I like that just metaphor. Do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Time for a little bit of a shameless shout out. You know, if people want to find you, where's the best place to find you and ask the questions they want to ask?
Tinder.
I was literally about to say, how do people slide into your DMs? Oh, I love it.
My Instagram handle is that arsehole got RMY.
Yeah. And you and Moo were doing a podcast too. Is that still going? Are you guys cracking on with that? Like,
we both got busy. I had COVID, and then I had a tonsil issue last weekend. I ended up in hospital.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What was the name of the podcast? Because you've done did you end up releasing the episode, or you didn't end up releasing it?
Oh man.
Text it through to me and we'll put it in the bio below, because we love, especially weight loss bros, having a bit of a chat. I think it's a really good thing for the community. So we'll put it in the bio below to make sure if you guys get it out there and start spruiking it.
Yeah, we've got to get it done. Like, he's really keen on getting it done, so just got to find time.
Perfect. No, I love it. I think everyone in the bariatric world should have their own little podcast, because I think it gives, like, you know, I sit on here and I talk about stuff and I'm like, why did I talk about that?
You get a podcast. You get a podcast. Like, everybody gets a podcast.
It's like external. It's like therapeutic. You just kind of just blurt stuff out and you're like, wow, that felt nice to get off my chest. I've been keeping that a secret for so long. No, but yeah, no, absolute pleasure, Rhys. And I'm loving it. Like I look at you and you look genuinely happy, which is like
that smile. It says it all.
It's weird.
Yeah.
This feeling of happiness. What is this?
I know. They should really sell this in a store.
I actually smile with my teeth. I haven't done that for like a long time.
Yeah, you do actually. I think I was thinking the same thing. So, guys, if you do want to reach out to Rhys, make sure you do. He has a lot of knowledge, especially if you're a guy. Like, I know there's a lot of guys that slide in my DMs. That sounded weird, especially because of the metaphor before. But like, slide over to Rhys.
On Grindr.
No,
of course not. And ask him any of the questions you may have if you're pre-surgery, because he's very fresh into it. Like, you know, well, not fresh, but he's newer to it, so he remembers a lot more than me, because my memory's terrible. But yeah, guys, if you want to come on and share your story, make sure you reach out. I would love to have everyone on, hear your story. And yeah, that's another week of
Bari Banter.
Well, yes, that is another episode of Bari Banter in the books. We hope you got a little something from that one.
Head on over to Facebook or Instagram and check us out, or go to baribanter.com, where you can watch past episodes, give us feedback, and let us know who you want to hear from next.
We love you all, and as always, please stay beautiful.